Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome and put your hands together for the Right Honorable Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari bin Tun Datuk Abang Haji Openg, Premier of Sarawak. Hadirin sama-sama kita berikan tepukan yang paling gemuruh untuk Yang Amat Berhormat Premier Sarawak. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the National Anthem Negaraku and Sarawak State Anthem Ibu Pertiwiku. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please kindly be seated and thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam Sarawak maju makmur, salam segulai sejalai. Our guest of honor, the Right Honorable Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari bin Tun Datuk Abang Haji Openg, Premier of Sarawak. Yang berbahagia Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. George Chan Hong Nam. Yang berbahagia Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Alfred Jabu Anak Numpang. The Honorable Datuk Sri John Siki Anak Tayai, Minister in the Premier's Department. The Honorable Dato' Amar Haji Muhammad Abu Bakar bin Marzuki, Sarawak State Secretary and Chairman, Sarawak Centre of Performance Excellence, Scoop. The Honourable Deputy Ministers, distinguished guests, yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Haji Azhar bin Haji Ahmad, Chief Executive Officer, Leadership Institute of Sarawak Civil Service. Yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Haji Solihin Abang, Founder and Group Managing Partner of Solihin. Members of the Parliament and the Sarawak State Legislative Assembly, heads of department, our sponsors, distinguished speakers, moderators, and the participants, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. A very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2026 Sarawak Budget Conference. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and now, so as to pray for blessings for today's grand ceremony, it is now with great pleasure to invite Al-Fadil Ustaz Ahmad Nizam Johari Al-Hafiz, the Islamic Affairs Officer of Solihin, to recite the doa. Falyatafaddal mashkura. Dengan segala hormatnya, majlis mempersilakan.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. يا الله يا ملك يا قدوس, kami bersyukur kehadrat-Mu ya Allah, di atas limpah rahmat kurniamu kami dapat berhimpun pada petang yang permai ini bersempena dengan 2026 Sarawak Budget Conference yang dihadiri oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zuhari bintun Datuk Abang Haji Openg, Premier Sarawak. Kami menadah tangan memohon doa restu darimu. Jadikanlah segala ilmu pengetahuan yang akan kami perolehi sepanjang seminar ini akan dapat dimanfaatkan dan diamalkan dalam kehidupan kami, dan seterusnya akan dapat meningkatkan lagi mutu perkhidmatan kami, berintegriti, berdedikasi, berwibawa dan berwawasan tinggi serta menjadi insan yang soleh dan cemerlang untuk agama, bangsa dan negara. Tanamkanlah ke dalam jiwa kami sifat sabar dan tekun dalam melaksanakan tugas dan sentiasa amanah dalam segala urusan yang telah dipertanggungjawabkan kepada kami. Ya Allah, Ya Syakur, Ya Allah, bukakanlah pintu hati kami untuk menjadi manusia yang sempurna, taat kepada Allah dan Rasul, taat kepada arahan ketua, manusia yang berjiwa wajar, sentiasa sanggup menghadapi rintangan, dugaan dan cabaran demi menjana dan memartabatkan agama, bangsa dan negara Malaysia yang tercinta. Ya Allah, Ya Rashid, jadikanlah khidmat bakti kami ini sebagai satu ibadah yang dicontohi dan disegani. Eratkanlah kasih sayang di kalangan kami. Limpahkanlah cahaya petunjuk untuk kami untuk terus melaksanakan tanggungjawab dengan adil demi kesejahteraan masyarakat dan negara. Ya Allah, hiasilah sanubari kami dengan sifat-sifat mahmudah yang mulia lagi terpuji. Jauhilah dari kami sifat-sifat mazmumah yang hina lagi dikeji. Tanamkanlah ke dalam diri kami semangat bekerja sama dan persaudaraan yang sejati ke arah mencapai kecemerlangan dan keredaan-Mu, Ya Ilahi. Terimalah segala usaha dan khidmat bakti kami sebagai satu ibadah seperti mana yang Kau kehendaki. Allahumma ja'alna jam'ana haza jam'an marhuma wa tafarruqna min ba'dihi tafarruqan ma'suma wa la taj'al fina wa la ma'ana syakiya wa la matrudan wa la mahruma. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallahu khairan kathira. Thank you very much to Al-Fadil Ustaz Ahmad Nizam Johari Al-Hafiz, Islamic Affairs Officer of Solihin. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Shukur Alhamdulillah, here we are at day 2 of Sarawak Budget Conference, in line with the theme Empowering People, Advancing Prosperity, Building a Resilient Future. And yesterday, our main highlight was on the Sarawak's 2026 state budget priorities. And today, we are shifting our focus to the national stage, exploring how Malaysia's Madani Budget 2026 impacts states, businesses, and the broader economy. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and now we have come to this truly special session, a moment with the Right Honourable Premier of Sarawak, an exclusive dialogue that will shed light on the 2026 Sarawak budget aspiration. In this session, we would discover the state's vision for sustainable growth and inclusive development, and to learn about Sarawak's future economic direction and how these plans will shape a brighter future for all. Ladies and gentlemen, and now, without further ado, please welcome on stage the outstanding recipient of the Order of the Rising Sun Gold and Silver Star Award, Japan's highest honors. Please put your hands together for the Right Honourable Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari bin Tun Datuk Abang Haji Openg, Premier of Sarawak. And this forum session will be moderated by Mr. Said Munawar Said Mustar. Majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me in once again welcoming Yang Amat Berhormat Premier of Sarawak. Just to share with you, Yang Amat Berhormat, when the organizer knew that you're making time for this conference, they were ecstatic, they were so excited and thrilled. So once again, on behalf of the organizer, thank you very much for making your time. Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari, the Premier of Sarawak. Yang berbahagia Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. George Chan Hong Nam. Yang berbahagia Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Alfred Jabu Anak Numpang. Yang berhormat Datuk Sri John Sikit Anak Tayai, the Minister in Premier's Department. The Honourable Datuk Amar Haji Muhammad Abu Bakar bin Marzuki, Sarawak State Secretary and Chairman of SCOPE. Honourable Deputy Ministers, distinguished guests, yang berbahagia Datuk Haji Azhar bin Haji Ahmad, CEO of LI, yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Salihin Abang, the founder and group managing partner of Salihin, members of Parliament and Sarawak State Legislative Assembly, heads of department, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum, salam segulai sejalai. I hope that's right. Betul? Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm still learning, Yang Amat Berhormat. Welcome back. Since we're having the Premier himself, I consider this to be the grand finale of Sarawak Budget Conference 2026. Thank you very much to everyone. And when we're talking about budget, most people will look at the numbers, Yang Amat Berhormat, but I think budget should be more than that. It's about how we envisage the vision of the state in looking at what's the priority, what matters most to the rakyat and also to the society at large. And what's interesting about Sarawak Budget 2026 is that when you read the document, you don't feel like it's a typical state budget, because there is an air of confidence. And I think the outlook is the horizon is quite, timeline, it shows vision. And to me, it's more like you're reading a state development document. And it's very important. I mentioned yesterday, I would like to mention this before we begin our conversation, Yang Amat Berhormat, because I think I may stand corrected. This is the first time an organizer put the federal budget and also the state budget side by side, analyzing it critically, trying to share the same direction. I think this is not only important, but it is also courageous for the states of Sarawak and also for the organizer to organize in such a manner. While I noticed that some of the other states, they are looking at budget in a shorter time frame, it seems like Sarawak is giving a longer horizon in planning to the future. And we know Sarawak has attained the stature of a high-income economy for quite some time, I think thanks to the revenue from energy and also natural resources, as well as PCDS 2030. And this conversation is also about everyone here in this hall, so please make use of the Pigeonhole platform. We're going to be sharing the QR code from time to time. I think let's make the most of this occasion, since the Premier himself making his time available with us. But to set the discussion in motion while waiting for the question to roll in, when you're drafting, Yang Abu Hormat, the budget for 2026, it's what, the fourth time in a row it's a surplus budget? Do you do that intentionally? What's the intent? Considering that we still have pockets of development need to be addressed immediately, considering Sarawak's state's condition, and also uncertainty globally. So what was in your mind when you decided it's going to be another surplus budget for this time around?
Well, budget 2026 is only part of the journey that started from the year 2020, when we had our PCDS 2020 to 2030. It is a 10-year journey, and 2026 is only the 6th year of the 10-year journey. And it is a continuation of what we started in 2020. You know, for the past 5 years, we were very fortunate that we had the means to launch what we aspire under 2030 program. And 3 years ago, actually we aimed to be a high income 2030, but we achieved it 3 years ago. Meaning it's about 7 years ahead of 2030. And this is a reflection on how you run your economy. And to achieve 2030, you have to assemble the strength that Sarawak has. And you give sort of value to our strength. And at the same time, the world is facing a lot of challenges. And one of the challenges the world is facing is climate change. So I have sort of collaborate the world's challenge and the strength that we have and what we can contribute to mitigate the problem the world is facing in terms of climate change. And we have analyzed that Sarawak has the strength. One is we are in the tropics. Two, we have forests that can become carbon sink, you know, to store carbon. And three, we have renewable energy. Hydro 70%, 30% is low carbon methane. And you combine the resources together, and perhaps you add again on the other source, particularly solar and biomass. In other words, Sarawak has the capacity to produce renewable energy. And number two is this, and our natural resource is there. But natural resource is useless if you don't have the brains. In other words, you have to combine between the natural capital that you have together with the human capital that will create something new in the new economy. And 2026 is just part of that journey. And this year, we give emphasis to education. That is why we give free tertiary education to all Sarawak kids who are eligible to enter university free. With emphasis on new technology, particularly the STEM discipline.
Yeah.
In other words, 2026, the start of for us to train the right people for our new economy. And our economy cannot be business as usual. That is why a lot of developing countries are trapped. They call it middle income trap.
Yeah.
Because they don't create something new. So what happened now for Sarawak is, for us, using our resource to create something new. That's why I go for hydrogen economy. And perhaps Sarawak is in the front line on hydrogen. I was invited to speak overseas on this hydrogen. In fact, last week I was in Bangkok. Now we're talking about water. You know, I was expressing, giving my views on water, because water will be another important commodity. You know why? Because people are now depending on AI.
Okay.
AI is accumulation of data.
Okay.
And data is stored in data center.
Yeah.
Data center needs
water
power
for cooling.
and water.
Yeah.
So water in 5 to 10 years' time, I think will be another important commodity. It becomes a sellable commodity.
Exactly.
If that's the case, we got so many rivers. You see, Sarawak is so bad because so many rivers. Other countries are sharing river. Germany is sharing a river Rhine. And Egypt, Kenya, Sudan, you know, sharing a Nile.
Yeah.
Sarawak, you just mentioned, Samarahan, Baram, Rajang, so many rivers. That should be capitalized for you to produce water, treated water. Because treated water can, as long as you got treatment plant, then you can export your water. So I am aiming for that.
Okay.
So this is part of the strategies that we are going to adopt for the new economy, so that we are not trapped in the middle, income trap.
Yeah. Yang Mak Berhormat, it seems to me like currently Sarawak is sitting in the sweet spot where it seems you are doing everything right. I jokingly mentioned to some of my friends in numerous occasions when I was moderating together with you, I asked in the previous occasion, nak jadi anak Sarawak. Yang Mak Berhormat kata, cubalah kalau berjaya. So I still mention it again today. Nevertheless, before we moving on to specific subject, I would like to still revisit the issue of budget, because you're keeping it as a surplus budget for the fourth year in a row, I think. So what's the actual intent in making it a surplus budget, rather than perhaps maybe you can spend it elsewhere to generate more for the Sarawak interests?
No, it depends very much on your direction.
Okay.
For me, since I took over, first is I want to increase income.
Okay.
That I have done. Of course, there are certain controversy on it,
Yeah.
but I'm doing it within the framework of our laws
Yeah.
and our rights. So I have managed to do that. And this income invested back to certain priority sector. The first is, of course, we have to upgrade our digitalization process.
Yeah.
We introduced digitalization, that means our digital economy. We set up our own SPay, Global Pay. And it was very fortunate. In fact, initially, they were skeptic on this. But then over time, during the COVID-19, then they can see the importance of digitalization when you have the Zoom conference,
Yeah.
payment by, Sarawak Pay and so on. So that is the first phase.
Okay.
And today, we want to have a very efficient government using digitalization. And the second is, of course, we are talking about the new economy based on renewable resource. So we go for sort of power generation And we are now very fortunate. Not only we increased power consumption within Sarawak, but we share also to our neighbors. As you know, we are selling to West Kalimantan as well as now is with Sabah, because we have done the grid, the main grid from Lawas to Sapitang. And then the next will be, of course, to our neighbor Brunei. In other words, before ASEAN is talking about ASEAN grid, Sarawak has done it on its own.
As you remember.
No, not waiting for ASEAN. We share. And the third is the question of changing the mindset. And that is quite a colossal task. You know, it's not easy to get people to think of the future. And against those aspirations, our budget is plotted in such a way that it will push the whole economic spectrum towards the 2030.
Right. Yeah, Mak Berhormat, since you're mentioning about this, changing the mindset, what actually do you have in mind? In which sectors do you think you need to push and give more emphasis when you're talking about changing the mindset, particularly the Sarawakians?
I'm just giving you an example of agriculture.
Okay.
Paddy farming.
Yeah.
You cannot use the old conventional method, the kampong method, sowing the thing like that. 1 hectare, it takes you about 3 months to plant the seed of paddy. But today, 1 hectare, 50 minutes. So you have to change your mindset to use modern mechanization to have better yield and also to produce more. And we have that advantage. And that one, you have to change the mindset of the farmers. Even the young farmer, student, can study on mechanization and use the modern production process in terms of farming. Just an example. There are so many other sectors that you need people to change. The second is must be bold, calculated risk. Some dia tunggu dulu. We cannot have that sort of mindset. You must be bold, read the law, apply. I think that's the way.
It seems like you are all set to be the food security hub for the whole nation, it seems, because of the landmass and the right mindset from the Premier in pushing down
Actually, I have a target already for paddy.
Okay. Is this a scoop, Mak Berhormat? Have you mentioned it before elsewhere about this idea of yours?
Yes. Okay. Because I've done in my own constituency. I tried as an experiment together with University Putra.
UPM.
New seedling, new method. We managed to produce 1 hectare, 8 metric ton. Last time is only the manual one is only 1 ton, 1.2 metric ton per hectare. Now it's 8, and 5 seasons, 24 months. Just an example. So our target now is to produce 400 over metric tons. Enough for Sarawak already.
Okay.
Actually, some can be
exported, shared with.
Just an example.
Okay. Mak Berhormat, I promise that we're going to be taking questions from the crowd, from the floor. It seems like there are so many popular questions, some because everyone can upvote any particular question of their liking. There are also some questions got 18 votes, which is the most. So this is a very democratic session here we have with the audience. So let me take the first question, the most popular question here. All right. So from Anonymous, how does the free tertiary education scheme align with Sarawak workforce transformation goals? And what industries will benefit most from this talent pipeline?
Number one, we give free education to selected programs, which is based on more on the new needs of the new economy. So we have selected 64 programs.
Okay.
And these 64 mostly are STEM discipline. You need people with skill. This is because our new economy will be that level of economy, high pay, and also people with certain skill. I just giving you an example. When we started our methanol plant,
Okay.
we got Sarawakians coming back from Shell, from Petronas working in methanol. But today, because we have another industry coming up, the CCUS, the storage of carbon, this new company are taking people from Sarawak, petchem.
Yeah.
And the pay is higher than what is offered by Sarawak petchem. So in other words, the benefit will go to these people. Whereas petchem need another, new people to work in petchem. In other words, when your industry has developed in such a way, offering better pay and also a very complicated industry, you need a very well-trained people to work with you.
Yeah.
And that is where the benefit will be for the young generation. And what you do must be in line with what the world needs. So in other words, your economic policy is not only confined within your borders, but rather the global business. And then you become a participant in this new business.
Yeah.
Another example that I can give is semiconductor. Sarawak has a lab in Cardiff.
Okay.
In Cardiff.
Cardiff,
yes.
all right.
Okay. And our research center in Cardiff is engaging with General Electric, GE, and also Siemens. So our scientists, the young scientists, they interact with these people. And now we got a new design, chip design, powered by AI, invented by Sarawakian.
Okay.
For the world market. And we are waiting for IP. We are waiting for IP. And this chip, AI-powered chip, the first in the world, done by a Sarawakian, but in Cardiff.
Okay.
In other words, there is a talent there, and we want to develop this talent. For all you know, this AI-powered chip is a new a material, is nano, is more, that can store millions of data, right? As a result of that, the present wafer platform, which is the material is silicon, they cannot hold on to store these new millions of data because of AI.
Yeah.
So you need a stronger wafer.
Right.
And Sarawak, scientists there produce a new wafer material called GaN using nitride. So this is a new wafer altogether, and then invented by Sarawakian.
Yeah.
So in other words, now it's in the process of being certified by what we call this intellectual property right. At the moment we get that, in other words, we can compete with the world on chip design, as well as the storage of data through this new chip. By the way, the name is Ketek AI.
Okay.
We got our own brand now to the world.
Does that carry any particular meaning behind the word?
No, because I used to use the word Ketek. Now they call Ketek AI. Okay. So in other words, we have our own chip, semiconductor design. And hopefully that will be something new to the world. And once you got your IP, then you got the royalty, and become the revenue to the state government. And these are sectors where we want our young students to master. And I think if they are given the opportunity, I think they can do it.
Yeah, indeed, Yang Berhormat, because the way how I see it, once you have the free education scheme for all the Sarawakian children, and of course you have your own universities, 5 private universities under your guardianship. I think due to the changing the education landscape, 4 years and 3 years are no longer feasible in producing the right talent, since the whole nation is pushing towards high growth, high value segments. I think you have the capacity and also have the mindset and support system to produce. I reckon that perhaps maybe 5 to 10 years time from now, all the strategic spot nationwide will be handled by Sarawakians perhaps, I'm not sure. That's one of the reasons why I am excited to be a Sarawakian myself. Nevertheless, there is most popular questions at the moment, particularly addressing 2026 budget. In positioning Sarawak as a regional economic powerhouse, which sectors will receive priority investment under 2026 budget?
Well, it is part of the whole, when you plan your budget, it has to be macro.
Okay.
Right? And then it has to be in line with what you want Sarawak to be. So the priority is based on what the world economy will be. And now is a transition.
Correct.
From fossil fuel to green economy. It's a transition. And I think the world will definitely adopt the green economy rather than what is being done now.
Yeah.
So the whole economic direction, particularly for Malaysia and for that matter Sarawak, you have to formulate your policy based on what you think will be happening in the world.
Okay.
What will happen to the world after, say, 2030 or 2050, because the COP, the latest one in Belém, in Brazil, also still talking about 2050 as a zero carbon. So that will be the world economy, and you have to prepare yourself to be part of that journey up to the year 2050. So our priority is going towards 2050.
Okay.
Of course, maybe I'm not around already, 2050, but you must lay the foundation where Sarawak's economy maybe similar to, remember I share with you, like Germany.
Oh yeah.
Right? You can be there. And at the moment, if you study Europe, the strongest economy in Europe is still the Nordic countries.
Yeah.
Finland, Sweden, Norway, and they are small countries, but they are very strong. And I think Sarawak should be like that.
Okay.
A small state, part of Borneo, but is sustainable and very strong in terms of our economic prowess.
Correct. You see, Yang Berhormat, what I like about sitting right next to you discussing about this, your ideas are feasible, but what is more interesting is that you are the Premier of Sarawak. You are in the driving seat, and you can decide. Many people can, we used to say ideas are free, but ideas which can be transformed into practical is something else. And while you are sitting in front as a driver of Sarawak economy, being a high income economy, I think that's Alhamdulillah lah, syukur besar lah, boleh memandu ke arah itu kan. So the next question goes, let's have a look. Okay, I'll take this one. What fiscal strategies are prioritized in 2026 to strengthen Sarawak's resilience amid global economic and geopolitical uncertainties?
At the moment, having said about your aspiration, Sarawak must have adequate and modern infrastructure.
Okay.
So towards 2030, we have already in our pipeline to improve our infrastructure. That's why we build bridges, we build roads. Even now, we are using new technology, building roads on pit soil. We have done before, we tried what they call geotextile construction of road. But today, I ask them, even geotextile construction is not successful. After a few years, 5 to 10 years, the road still like that. So I ask them to use new technology on elevated road.
Okay.
Though the cost is high initially, but over long term, the maintenance cost will be cheaper. And then the moment you have elevated road, it is not on the soil itself. And for mangrove, pit soil is a good storage for carbon. They mean carbon trading. You know?
Right.
You don't disturb it. So you gain some fund there, you know, some money there. While at the same time you don't have to spend much money to maintain the road. Just something new. So in other words, what I'm saying here is we modernize our infrastructure, water supply, power in the rural areas, and the road, accessibility.
Okay.
And this will take at least another 5 years. And with that, your economy will be spinning because you are involved in the construction. So it doesn't really being affected by what happened externally, because as long as you got your seed capital and, and you develop your infrastructure, by the time when the cycle comes back, your infrastructure is there already.
Okay.
And then you can move forward based on what you have initially aspired to be. So I think it's not that difficult. Because the external factors does not really affect us much.
Yeah, Mak Berhormat, what percentage of that is the responsibility of the federal as compared to what is going to be incurred by the state? And how do you strategize your strategic positioning with the fiscal federalism?
Honestly, it should be done by federal.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, but doesn't come.
Okay.
We cannot wait. So we have to do our part. We work hard to get extra fund, and then even cancer center, now we have to advance first 1 billion.
Yeah. And you send the bill to federal.
And then I send the bill to them.
Just like
but people suffering from cancer cannot wait, you see?
Yeah.
So I told the Prime Minister, if that's the case, okay, I advance you 1 billion. Action now, advance. I said, okay, we use our money first, then you pay me back. Even then now, they ask us to bear the cost of the equipment, 0.5.
Okay.
5 million. I have to say yes. That's why we have to work very hard to get kerja kuat lah, cari duit. What to do?
Same goes to issue Sekolah Daif the other day.
Yes,
you
the same.
fork out the bill
The
and
same.
you send the bill to minister.
We have to pay first. But I must thank the Sarawakians because they give us the support. It's for them, not for me.
Yeah.
And that's why our political stability is very important. It's meant for them. But once you have achieved certain level, say by 2030, now we are achieving our high income economy, but we want the household income also to increase.
Okay.
That's why education is the only way, I think, that can accelerate the high income, household income. I think that's the only way. So we invest. 2026, for education sector, we are allocating 650 million just for education this year, 2026, with the free education. And we give allowance to the student. Dulu mana ada?
Yeah.
Now 1,200 to all students throughout Malaysia. Sarawakian lah.
Yeah, okay.
1,000. When they prepare for exam, malam lapar, at least that boleh beli Maggi mee lah. You know. So this, and then even those who are studying in cities like Kuching, Sibu, Miri, Bintulu, we give them also assistance for renting, house renting,
Yeah.
for them to stay.
Yeah. Cik Kem told me that you put a syarat to become anak Sarawak, you have to marry a Sarawakian. So I'll just stop at that because I'm not. My wife is not going to be happy listening to this. This is shown online.
Some people say this is a joke,
Okay.
but it can be reality, you know. You say, why not I marry Sarawakian so that my son, my daughter can get free education?
Okay.
Because in our law, any one of the parents Sarawakian, the anak is entitled to care.
Yeah.
Care. I see. So, siapa yang tahan, waktu itu boleh lah. Asal tahan saja.
Asal tahan saja. I'll take Rose's question. It got quite a high vote. It's a bit spicy, I think. How could the political instability in Malaysia's federal government impact the timely implementation of MA 63 agreements and federal allocations within the Sarawak 2026 budget?
You know, there are a lot of perception, particularly our friends across, saying that because of the problem, political problem facing the other side, Sarawak take the opportunity to bargain. It is not.
Okay.
You know, for the past 3 prime ministers, we just support any prime minister that can give, you know, stable government. And that is Sarawak's position.
Okay.
When we start talking about, for instance, the Petros problem, it's nothing. It's just what is written in the law and what is our right. That's all. So we have to, work for both sides.
Yeah.
And then I think MA 63 is an agreement, and then we launched in United Nations. It's a document registered with United Nations for the establishment of Malaysia, and that is part of the right we have agreed between the federal government of Malaysia, British government, and of course the state government. And that right is part of the thing that we have to execute. So I think actually is no controversy on that part, because everything is there. You know, I'm bringing here the law.
Okay. Yeah, last time also you bring a book.
No, I just want, it's about PDA.
Okay.
You see, this is the law on PDA. They got how many sections here? I just, then I'm not talking from the air.
Yeah.
See? There are, let me see, there are 10. The last one is definition.
Okay.
And under 8, saving. Save for section 14 thereof, the Petroleum Mining Act 1966 shall not apply to Petronas.
Okay.
In other words, Petronas got everything except save for section 14, Petroleum Mining Act. What is section 14?
Okay.
Permission to enter upon unattended land. You must get the permission. In other words, if they want to enter to Sarawak land, they have to ask permission under the Petroleum Mining Act.
Okay.
And this is the law. This is the federal law. And in the Constitution itself, under the federal list, they say 8J, mining, all that, subject to 2C of the state list. 2C list meaning you have to seek permission from the state. And this is the law. Not that I want it. You mentioned it in the law.
Okay.
So I just execute the law. I do not want people, they say PDA is arcing. Absolute. It's not absolute. Because it said there, saving. And I'm just interpreting the law, no?
Okay.
So when Sarawak ask it, bukan mana Sarawak minta. No,
Yeah.
Sarawak ikut undang-undang. You know?
Yeah, Yang Mohamad, I can see that you come well
after,
prepared.
after all,
Yeah.
rukun negara say undang-undang. Orang Sarawak memang ikut undang-undang.
Another way of looking at it is at the moment when there is uncertainty who should be coming the Prime Minister, I think we must appreciate your firm stand in supporting whoever. I think that helps to stabilize things at the moment when things that were so uncertain. So I have to thank you on behalf of orang Malaya lah.
Thank you. No, kita
Sama-sama.
brotherly,
InsyaAllah.
brotherly relation.
So let's take another question. Okay, there's one particular question which gets a high vote as well. How will the budget enhance infrastructure development, especially in rural and underserved areas, and how the state ensure timely delivery and quality control of major infrastructure projects?
Yes, now we have a new road we're going to build in Baram. Baram is very remote.
Okay.
So we are...
And this is under state's budget?
Yeah, and that's the budget.
Okay.
I'm not talking for the budget,
Okay.
it's not under me.
Okay.
Even then, saya pun berani juga tau cari duit. We are going to build the road from Miri to Marudi.
Okay.
And then Marudi to Long Terawan. Long Terawan to Long Panai. And then Long, sana banyak Long. Long Panai and one more Long there. Right to Mulu.
Okay.
Mulu. And then that Mulu will be connected to another road in Gunung Buddha in Limbang. So we have a new loop. That one will open up the whole Baram area with the new road. If you go to Mulu, but hopefully by 2029, if it's completed by then, it's only taking you 1.5 hours to reach Mulu. Then the tourists can go to Mulu. At the moment, the window is only 4 hours.
Okay.
And sometimes the tourists may miss their own, flight. So with that opening up remote area, we will eventually place our water supply in that area. And that one costs us 3 over billion. And it is on the state fund.
Okay.
We're going to have the remote area. Then this remote area will be connected. Once connected to Miri, all connected. That is for Baram right up to Limbang. And also Limbang, Lawas, Kelalan, Bario, we are building our own road. We call it Northern Corridor.
Okay.
And that is state fund. But it will be connected to Sabah Sarawak Link Road. So in other words, the remote areas in Sarawak will be connected by 2030. Even now, the coastal road is there. We have 22 bridges to build.
Okay.
And federal government, 22 months, they cancel all these bridges. So we have to take over. That one also pening kepala lah, cari how to... But I managed it. God is great helping me.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, the Batang Lupa river bridge, the longest crossing the river in Malaysia.
Okay.
We have to bear it because federal cancel it.
Yeah.
The same with another bridge called Batang Igan. But today, instead of 3 bridges, I built 22 bridges. Not only 3, 22. And thank God we managed it.
Yeah, we must not underestimate the multiplier effect of all this connectivity, particularly the land.
Of course.
I mean the road, yeah. Because those days when there is no land, people are residing at the riverside, particularly because of the connectivity. And I think things will trickle down much faster afterwards.
Because by rule of thumb,
Yeah.
if you have a project, you inject your money there to build the project, the rule of thumb is 2.5 times.
2.5, okay. So you'll get the multiplier back.
The multiply.
All right.
Once,
Yang Muhammad, I would like to take Michael's question. It goes, how does 2026 Sarawak budget reconcile its substantial reliance on petroleum-based revenues with its commitment to renewable energy and net zero emission by 2050?
Well, I have tried this year and last year. We don't depend on gas alone. What you do is you diversify your economy, get the foreign investor to come in, and you start new industry which is export-oriented. Once they export, you charge 5% sales tax.
Okay.
Similar to gas, but you cannot rely on gas. You must diversify. You know, for instance, hydrogen. I'm doing hydrogen now with the Japanese as well as Korean. The moment we produce hydrogen, you export hydrogen, you can also impose certain tax structure, export tax on hydrogen. That is additional money. That's why I'm talking about water. There's a possibility that water, well, in Bangkok, I started provoke all the expert about this water.
Okay.
Then I can see, because one of the audience questioned why we allow so many data centers. Because they consume a lot of water, so deprive of the normal consumer. But how can you stop AI? You stop AI first. You stop all this semiconductor, which needs a lot of water. If you stop that, then consumers will get the water, but you must treat water for both the consumers as well for the industry. It's just the power.
Yeah.
Power is meant for the consumers as well as for the industry. But the industry has to pay higher because the consumption is not particularly for data center. So in other words, if there is a demand, then there's a value to that commodity. If there is no demand, no value.
Exactly.
It's a simple economics.
Yeah.
So I think the same apply to the question.
Question of energy. I like your body language, Yang Mak Berhormat, because it's a power body language. When you mention about we'll charge 5%, I think not many statesperson can say that without affecting the market. You know, it seems like you're very comfortable, and it's a good thing. It's a good signal. I mean, to the market.
Well, if Trump can do it.
So you're the Sarawak version of Trump.
No, but not necessarily.
Not necessarily, yeah.
Not necessarily you disrupt the economy. You must be a bit rational.
Okay.
You start with 2%. You don't go up to 15%. Trump just, you know. So much so you have to have a dealing with them.
Yeah. Yeah, you have the capacity to do so, and I think that's the main.
Yes, one is capacity, one is you must have the means.
Yeah.
The difficulty is to get the means. So you have to, think deeply how to get the means.
Yeah, I can see that you're working very hard on that. So I think Sarawakians are very much grateful for your effort.
Yeah.
Yang Mak Berhormat, we have only around 5 minutes at our disposal. I'd like to take another question, anonymous. What strategic investment does Budget 2026 make in strengthening the leadership, skills, and institutional capability in the Sarawak civil service to deliver increasingly complex policies?
Well, we have a program for the civil service. We have engaged with Cambridge. We have engaged with LSE. We have engaged with one institution where I studied there, Handy. And then Singapore, we send our mid-management level to participate and to undergo this executive program.
Okay.
Because this executive program is good. They got the current issues faced by the corporate sector, business sector, and they discuss in a group, syndicate discussion. Then that's where I think our civil servant will gain, because of the new ways of how people manage their organization. So I hope that we are doing that to our civil servant, so that they got exposed to these complicated issues. For instance, the climate issue is a real issue. And how you really manage your area of jurisdiction, for instance, drainage, all that. You got tremendous a lot of issues.
Right.
So the civil servant can tackle it in order to help us to mitigate the issues itself.
Yeah. How does it work, Yang Amat Berhormat? Is it optional, or do you identify the right talent for the right kind of training? So
That one
where do we get all the information from?
That one I leave to the civil service.
Okay.
It has to be
They know better.
professional.
Okay.
So what type of... We ministers just give a guide.
Okay.
For instance, we are setting up our own airline.
Yeah.
Okay? So we need professional in that area. So we will ask the people who look after civil aviation, to get exposure, because technology has changed.
Yeah.
Even aircraft has changed. And they must be current. You know why we send beside Malaysia in KL, we also send in Singapore. Because apparently the Lee Kuan Yew studies program, they assemble executive from this part of the world over there.
Yeah.
So you can discuss issues faced by various organizations in Southeast Asia and how they manage it.
Yeah.
I think that should be the way we expose our civil servants, so that they are current with what's going on. For instance, efficiency. You have to use digital interaction.
Yeah.
So some of our officers, because when they studied before, there is no IT in the subject. So I touched IT 40 years ago, even then using punch card that time. The server is as big as this room.
Yeah.
But today you have a computer in your hand. So that's an example. Even our ustaz, we send to Oxford. Oxford. So that's why you see some of our baca doa. Dia punya,
Queen's English.
Dia punya pronunciation macam Oxford juga.
Oh, yeah. Whatever dialect, God still understands, inshallah.
Yeah. Of course.
There's one good question, Yang Amat Berhormat, from Nizam. I have to take this because I think it's a very good question. Does the decision to end state funding for GLCs from 2027 risk intensifying competition for revenue, or can it be structured to promote collaboration and synergy with the private sector?
We are now looking into the possibility of forming what we call Sarawak state-owned enterprise that will be separated from the mainstream government. And these SOEs, we got some guide from World Bank. In other words, they will be owned by the government 100% in terms of stake, shares, but run commercially. And they are not subject to general orders. You perform well, you got the bonus. You don't perform well, you got the X. So, sorry, because you don't provide any dividend to the shareholders and you are not efficient, you can, dismiss, fire lah. But run commercially. If they are good, they don't rely on government waiting for the budget to come, how much bonus. They don't rely on that. They are on their own. At the same time, the value of our asset will be high. And we are in the midst of doing that. In other words, our GLC, for instance, Petros is on its own. Sarawak Electricity Board, SEB, is on its own. The next one is our port. Our port will be on its own. After taking over Bintulu Port, all the ports are Sarawak asset. And they run on their own. And then maybe later, Sarawak Water Berhad on its own. So in other words, your civil service will be lean, and then the GLC under SOE will be very efficient on its own. And then that will give opportunity for the professional to run Sarawak's company, own company.
Yeah.
But subject to performance.
Yeah.
I think Singapore is doing that. And I think Germany is doing that. Also the Nordic countries.
Yeah, Mak Berhormat, there are many more questions, but we don't have enough time to address each and every one. The good thing about using Pigeonhole is that we can just download the question, and probably your office can address the answers later on, which is a good thing to have it online. But I would like to ask, what will be your parting messages to all the audience, particularly Sarawakians? Because I mentioned earlier on, this is not only important, but also courageous move from the Sarawak government, and also for Salihin Group to do in such a manner where you put federal budget in juxtaposition to the state budget and look at a higher point of view and looking for directions that we shared for mutual benefit rather than a zero-sum game whose interest should proceed over the other. So what will be your parting message when this is a stage for budget conference?
I think, to me, you have to innovate. And you cannot rely on other people 100%.
Right.
You must be on your own. Even today, I'm not too ambitious. I want Sarawak to be a star in ASEAN. Not only within Malaysia, it's a star in ASEAN. Because now we are producing power, sharing power with ASEAN countries. You know? So in other words, not only power, we may produce high quality products, and then we share with our ASEAN member countries. And Sarawak can play its part. You know, I just came back from China, Suzhou. That one is developed by Singapore in China, as you know. Right? And we are now developing our own, what we call Kuching Low Carbon Hub. We are going to develop our new port offshore, and then our own airport. And when we talk about this, we want to get, a collaboration with those who have been successful in this. So we are, at the moment, Petros is working with, we call it China Jingsao, the province, international.
Okay. So
they can share expertise to develop, we call it Tanjung Embang Interzone. And it has to be international. And then, based on our location, we are just about 3 to 4 hours flight range within the whole of ASEAN plus East Asia.
Okay.
If you can have that hub, meaning you become a player in half of the world's population, 3 billion market, plus China, East Asia, and India, besides ASEAN. And if you have, resource in the basic ingredient in any economy, that is power and water and human resource, then you can participate in the development of this part of the region in our economic development. That's why, though it's ambitious, but then sometimes you have to be ambitious. If not, you'll be in the second fiddle or the third fiddle all the time. That's where we are trapped. They call it middle income trap. But you have to be in the front, in the front. So I hope Sarawakian we have that mindset. Once you're dead, then you work hard. And also, you pray to God for assistance.
Inshallah.
That one must be done.
Ambitious is one thing. I think the same goes to a metaphor when you're playing. I'm a rugby player myself, so we have to aim high. Kalau aim tengkuk dapat pinggang, aim pinggang dapat tanah lah. So I think with that positive note, Sarawak is in a good standing. So I pray to Allah SWT so that you'll achieve whatever ambition you have in mind and doing it for the benefit of Sarawak and Malaysia as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a good round of applause to Yang Amat Berhormat Premier of Sarawak. And I hand back the session to Farah.
Alhamdulillah, an informative and inspiring session indeed. Once again, another big round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to our guest of honor and the moderator. We now invite our guest of honor to please remain on stage. And also, may we invite all the distinguished guests at the front row to please join and accompany our guest of honor on stage for us to proceed with our next highlight in conjunction with the 2026 Sarawak Budget Conference. Dengan segala hormatnya, dipersilakan. Alhamdulillah. Great discussion indeed on the 2026 Sarawak Budget Aspiration Empowering Future of Sarawak. We had earlier on, ladies and gentlemen. So here we are, we have our guest of honor joined by all the distinguished guests on stage right now. Well, our next highlight in conjunction with the 2026 Sarawak Budget Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, to officially mark the closing of the 2026 Sarawak Budget Conference, we now invite our guest of honor to please later on to do the honor by placing his palm onto the launching pad. So we are ever ready. Let's do the countdown in 3, 2, 1.
Being also the theme of today's conference, together building a prosperous future, resonates deeply with our collective aspiration.
Salihin leadership dengan skop dapat buat lagi big event macam ni.
That is very successful and graceful conference.
This conference has been elevated to very high level with the presence of all those very distinguished guests. Dan saya percaya siapa-siapa yang ikut sama dalam conference ini, mereka akan dapat ulangan yang baik dari segi knowledge.
Program sebegini baguslah.
Have a lot of input from the industry, from the ministry and from the federal government as well.
Patut dijadikan sebagai annual event lah.
Magnificent, fulfilling and satisfying.
Kita pilih Tan Sri Datuk Ahmad Speaker mungkin kelihatan berani dan luar biasa, tapi insya-Allah akan menjamin kedaulatan ekonomi Sarawak dan masa depan anak cucu kita di Sarawak.
big round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. Well, definitely indeed, we had a fruitful discussion for the past 2 days on the 2026 Sarawak Budget Conference has now officially come to a close. So let's continue with the book by Solihin Publication. We now invite our guest of honor, the Right Honourable Premier of Sarawak, to please unveil the gold cloth, all right? And also later on to grace the book frame with his signature. Dipersilakan. A big round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. Doing business in Sarawak, Sarawak Unlocked. A business blueprint for the new frontier. Silakan, the Right Honourable Premier of Sarawak, to do the honor. A big round of applause, please. So here it is, Doing Business in Sarawak is a concise guide for investors and businesses seeking to operate in Sarawak's unique regulatory and fiscal environment. All right, it also explains Sarawak's special rights under the Malaysia Agreement 1963, outlines key federal and state taxes and highlights major incentives across priority sectors such as manufacturing, digital economy, ESG, oil and gas, tourism and agriculture. Congratulations to Solihin Publication on the launch of Doing Business in Sarawak, graced by the Right Honourable Premier of Sarawak. Alhamdulillah, today, in conjunction with the Sarawak Budget Conference 2026. A big round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. Syukur Alhamdulillah. Tahniah kita ucapkan. All right, now we shall proceed with the presentation of memento to our guest of honor. As a gesture of appreciation and thanks to our guest of honor for today, dipersilakan Yang Berbahagia Datuk Dr. Haji Solihin Abang, the founder and group managing partner of Solihin, to present these special mementos to the Right Honourable Premier of Sarawak. First, we have a beautifully engraved wooden art, and also we have the newly published book on Sustainable Development Goals, a Shariah analysis and Maqasid mapping, a newly released Solihin's publication. Sekali lagi tepukan yang paling gemuruh hadirin. Alhamdulillah. Tahniah Solihin. And congratulations to all the organisers for this conference. Dipersilakan Yang Amat Berhormat Premier Sarawak untuk kembali ke ruang duduk utama. InsyaAllah untuk kita lanjutkan terlebih dahulu dengan sesi bergambar beramai-ramai bersama-sama semua yang hadir pada hari ini, ya, di 2026 Sarawak Budget Conference. Terlebih dahulu dipersilakan diundi kenamaan kita untuk kembali ke tempat duduk terlebih dahulu, dipersilakan. Alhamdulillah. Such a great platform enjoyed by everyone for the past 2 days, alhamdulillah. Empowering people, advancing prosperity, building a resilient future. A great theme indeed, in conjunction with the 2026 Sarawak Budget Conference. So, let's get ready with a big group photo, everyone. Focus your attention to the camera on stage. Yeah? Alright. Dan kalau boleh yang belakang, berdiri semuanya, dipersilakan, our participants. Alright, so are we ready, everyone? Senyum, jangan tak senyum. Okay. Big wide smile. And can we have everyone to do thumbs up? 1 is not enough. 2, yes. If it's 3, please do so, if you may. Okay? Alright, everyone. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much to each and every one of you for joining us here for the past 2 days as we come to the close of the 2026 Sarawak Budget Conference. Once again, we'd like to express our sincere gratitude to our guests of honor. Ladies and gentlemen, please another big round of applause for the Right Honourable Premier of Sarawak. Alhamdulillah for his gracious presence today at this auspicious occasion. At the 2026 Sarawak Budget Conference, a great discussion we had earlier on. And also big thanks to all the distinguished guests for your time. It is indeed an honor to have each and every one of you here. And definitely a big thank you as well goes to all the participants, our delegates of SBC 2026. Thank you very much for your participation and engagement over the past 2 days. Well, we hope you have gained valuable insights and knowledge from the discussions and the sessions we had. Alhamdulillah. Well, your contributions have been instrumental in making this event a success, and we look forward to seeing you all again next year in the 2027 Sarawak Budget Conference, inshallah.